we're going to go over a bit of a scene setup and how to set your project files as well as your preferences and how to set some hotkeys. So Maya works in what's called pretty much a project-based system, and you can house all of your scenes, your renderings, your textures, your animations, all within one project folder, and that really helps keep things super organized. Because as you know from prior experience, as you begin to do lots of different projects, things start getting a bit messy. This is the best way to kind of keep all of your projects super organized. So if we go up to File and go down to Project Window, you'll get a window that you'll see that'll come up. And so the current project you can set for, yours will probably be the default. You can just hit New to create a new one. And the location is where it's going to be written on your drive. So below you see the scenes, templates, images, source images, render data, etc. These are all going to be subfolders within that main project folder, which you can house all of your different project files in. So let's just go ahead and just make a new one. I'll just call this setup. You can go to the desktop or wherever it is you're going to put the folder, and that's fine. And just go ahead and hit accept. And so now that this is your project folder has been set, and now anything that you save when you save your scene will be saved as that. So, and you can see here in your look in, you see users, and you have your setup scenes here. If you go back where you save the main project folder, you can see all of your information here. So here you can save the scene. You can save as a Maya ASCII file or Maya binary. The ASCII file will be easier to recover all the information. It's going to be a larger file size, but it just depends what kind of format you want to be saving in. So yeah, so that's one way. So now we're going to look at some preferences, setting some preferences, and some hotkeys as well. So if we go up to the top under Window, Settings and Preferences, let's go to Preferences first and just click on Preferences, and you'll get this pop-up window. So in the Preferences, under the interface, sometimes if you lose your menu bar, if you detach it, and all these you can detach and replace. If you don't have the view, shading, lighting, show, render, and panel menu bar, you can go into your preferences on the interface tab, and it's the very first one under the menu set. So make sure you have that turned on or off. And so let's go down to display. And here you can see if you want to show your axes or not, your grid planes. Under settings is where you specify your axis. If you're working if you're working in Rhino as well, or you're working on a couple other platforms, and you're going to be going from one to the other, you might want to have at least your Y and your Z be coordinated, so that if you work with the Y up in Maya and your Z up in Rhino, one of the options when you export an OBJ, which we'll talk later about, is to basically have the Y from the OBJ match the Z in another program, or you can just set it to the World Coordinate System Z right away. I work with the Y up, but a lot of people work with the Z up. So under the units, so if you're working in centimeters or inches, the units are 1-to-1. So basically, this is going to matter for if you're doing renderings and you have to get actual lighting or real calculations done. It's going to matter, so make sure you stick within the units you're going to work within. And then down at the undo, you can set your undos are obviously pretty important. So you can set your queue to either finite or infinite, and that just really depends on how much you're going to be using it, because it starts to add up quickly. If you set it to finite, you can change the amount that you can have to undo. So yeah, I mean, just kind of be careful with that, but make sure that obviously it's turned on. And under the the file project settings, you can see your default project directories, which you can set here, as well as the histories for the files, so recent history size, and the autosave. So autosave, you can enable it. You can set it to specific intervals. You can also have it prompt you before it saves. And so autosave is a nice feature because sometimes you can crash Maya unexpectedly. So yeah, you can also set that as well. So you hit save, you close it out. Let's go up to Window, Setting Preferences, and then Plugin Manager. So here's where you can have all of plugins that you can use in Maya. You can either load or have auto load when you open the program. One that we want to scroll down to is the MentalRay node. So we're going to do the Maya to MentalRay bundle, and we're just going to click the loaded, and you can click for the auto load as well. Hit refresh, and then close it out, and go to File, Save Preferences. So once you've done that, let's talk about hotkeys for a second. And I'll be adding hotkeys as we move along. And we'll talk a bit about why that makes it a bit more beneficial in terms of kind of being optimizing the way that you're working. Because sometimes, if you have to go up and click a menu and click a command and then go down and do something, that may seem like it's not a big difference, but you multiply that by the length of a project, and that's actually quite a bit of time. So hotkeys is one way to make the workflow a bit faster. I'll just show you how to basically set a hotkey, and then we'll get into the hotbox later. So if you go to Settings, Preferences, over to Hotkey Editor, you'll get a window that pops up. And so basically the way it's broken down is, you have your current hotkeys, you can list them, you can restore to the defaults. They're listed by categories, so basically by the menus, and then the commands are to the right. So for example, say we were trying to get, we'll do one later, but say we're trying to do the display and we're trying to show all. So set a hotkey for show all. So you go to the display menu, and on the right side you scroll down to show all, and it's right here. And so mine's already set, and we'll set this later, but the way that you would go about setting it, you would assign a new hotkey. So you would go to the key, and you would set the key you want to assign to it. Any number of modifiers, which are good to use in order to organize your the types of menus and hotkeys that you're going to be using. So for example, if you do the Alt, which is the option, I have Alt set for a lot of the polygon hotkeys. So you can mix and match, to set multiple categories, etc. And then you just hit assign, and it'll tell you whether something's already set and if you want to override it or not. But mine's already assigned to this, as you can see here. You can also do a query, so you could try to find. So like in this case, if I was doing to query this, it would say my option C is assigned to combined polygon for mesh. So it's other ways to find out which ones you have already set. And so this is really helpful. And we'll talk a bit more about how to set other hotkeys as well. But this is the way that you would start going about doing this. So yeah, and then you would hit save, and it'll say it may not take effect in the next time Maya is launched. You hit OK, close it out. And after you always do that, you want to go up to File and Save Preferences. And you can see here at the bottom, it says Preferences Saved. And you can see the script editor for details. So in the next lesson, we're going to talk about selecting, deselecting, grouping objects, the outliner, and how to keep your scene organized, as well as some viewport shading. So we'll see you then.